Show me kings. Show me kings. Okay.
Oh no.
It's okay.
Rebuild it. You have time.
No, there's actual coke everywhere, like the puddles.
xQc spilled the coke all over his desk.
That's right.
So at this point in time, we're trying the double projectile dive. So it's going to be agilities on Farah and Mangachu on Hanzo, if I remember correctly.
Weak mental cokes.
No,
Do you need a pause, or are you good?
no, I'm good. That's fine.
Just living it.
Yep.
Rinse the diva here, right?
They're Risicom.
Where's the comp? No, they're running that, right?
They have
they're-
Risa.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, I want to go close.
And this, so if you guys remember, if you've been here since the very start when Gibraltar was happening, you'll remember the absolute chaos that was the Gibraltar comms. And I think the comms in King's Row shows what happens after 2 hours of these people playing together and just getting more comfortable with one another.
Do you want to like?
Just
go
gonna-
bottom right?
I'm just gonna go to point and just contest them, and make him drop down. Going close.
We need
working.
some drops.
This forces a
Widow
rotation
coming on your
or
left.
a contest.
Vanilla, Widow. Nice kill, nice kill.
Not gonna know res. Get her. Worth it, worth it.
Alright,
Yo, no, can you DM me? No.
Don't risk it. You have the numbers. It's fine. You win over time.
They
Check
did.
that on our mercy. On point now.
Check it. Bottom.
Good shot.
So that was like perfectly
switching for a
played.
second?
One of the main things that you want to do, especially in this style of composition, is force the opponent to react to you on the point. And the opponent has a Diva and an Orisa, and the Diva is going to drop, and the Diva has an advantage against the Winston. But if you can force the Diva to take the high ground again, the next contester is going to be an Orisa who can't rotate back to the high ground fast enough. So xQc did kind of put that objective pressure on the opponent. The headshot comes in onto, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Pizza. And then xQc changes from pressuring objective to punishing res.
Or is that last one?
Easy first cap. Up to you.
I think we should push the advantage. I'll sit Kurt. You guys go push forward, okay? Yeah, push the advantage.
Okay.
We're all
Listen,
six right
it's
now.
very punishing for us to dive here. I think we just don't dive, go close, all hold angles, make him invest because
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one tap if I dive.
Farm them, though. Just
I'm in a fucking awful spot here. I'm not.
They have nothing for me.
So, and this is also with Surefour out of it, right? So Surefour, another like pretty strong in-game leader, is not playing right now. It's Mangachu and Agility's playing here. So this is a much more calmer approach to comms overall. And this is also just like the end of the night. This is map 6. So I think it's very interesting to just see how you're already starting to see the scrim comms move.
I put you there,
I'm
so
gonna
I
heal, you know?
Okay, nice hills.
Get on now.
Yeah.
wanna push
Zen's
me.
stuck there.
Zen's stuck there, 100% stuck, dude.
I'm super low. I can't push.
Dude, I'm 100% stuck here. I'm trapped.
Oh, let's get.
Backing up, backing up.
Bit of a tunnel vision there on the Zenyatta.
We're getting a lot of the space. It's fine.
He sighs. He knows he
We
made
still
the
farm
mistake.
right.
Freaking should.
Oh, they
Okay.
have
Shield's
one
gonna
now.
break.
Here's what we do there. We just poke him a little
Go
bit,
on.
and you back. Always back.
I approach.
Okay.
Okay. I have full matrix. I have full matrix.
Yeah, watch out for
Darius half, Darius half. Darius is self bubble now.
Their shield's still super
What is
low.
taking
What
me?
does man? What does man?
Yeah.
One right here, one right here.
What is top? What is top? I want to
Right.
Put me order. What a bit.
No ball personal. One right.
Shane has pushed pretty far for here. He's pushed way too far forward here, especially with the pharmacy. He needs to be moving backwards. Like he needs to be a lot closer to his team. The Pharah can shoot right over top of his shield, and if they are going to be taking an engagement, they need to be on the point, taking the fight to the opponent. Because if they allow themselves to get spammed out, all their resources are just going to be utterly depleted. Like Shane has no assistance here.
Let's go,
Go in. Nice. Matrix ring. Dropping
Ready?
it now.
We're landing. 3, 2, 1, going now.
I'm half.
Okay, what? Fuck it. No, hell no, not
Yeah,
again.
I'm gonna
We're
get more
still
card
in the
here.
spawn.
Can we keep more card here? 3.
Yeah, yeah.
I think someone right. Oh, Zen right. Zen one.
He's directed.
Here's a mega.
We're just keeping 3 in cards. Stay safe.
Yeah. Be careful.
Okay, I'm gonna push one off the number here on the corner.
Alright,
Yeah, like especially against Pharah, you have to augment with your shields with natural cover. You have to be a lot more actually confident and decisive with your actions because you can't. This is just such an annoying strategy because it gets the value out of the opponent making mistakes or not being decisive. You know, Mangachu and Agility is just such a high damage, even before we start talking about Rolf's discords as well. Note and xQc, they just play in a way that where they can't be punished on high ground, protecting, you know, the DPS and the supports, and then, you know, diving in to punish or actually like finish off the abuse that Agilities and Mangachu have just laid upon the enemy team. So especially like there's too much damage here for Zarya bubbles. Like Zarya is going to be at 100 charge, but there's just going to be so much damage that Zarya bubble isn't going to do enough. Pizza really can't get value because he's going against a Hanzo and a Pharah. And then the Widowmaker here is going to be challenging because the Widowmaker is going to be wanting to position in areas where xQc and Note can pressure Keller so that you can't get any values. And there's so much high ground and vertical cover that Agilities really isn't going to be at that much of a risk anyway.
They have a tire for sure. They have a Valk. Probably trans soon.
I don't think they have grav yet. He's not hit
Yeah,
at all.
definitely not.
Let's go. I'm gonna push window.
Don't res.
They're resing it.
Oh, tower coming. I don't see
The
what's
red shield's broken.
Yeah.
I can rest one of you.
Oh, nice.
They're
Oh,
gonna
he
have a
didn't get
chance
the
here.
Mega. It's too bad.
Breaking shield, breaking shield.
Yo,
Yeah.
right
Can force it.
Nice. Run
Trading
low.
Trance to
him.
Primal is always worth
Window
it.
just go
Run inside.
Zip behind.
Run! I'm putting him in!
Zip behind us.
Run Zarya here!
Run inside. One.
I'm on Zarya.
Widow, main Widow.
Oh, they chin.
Zarya's one! Fuck, dude!
I'm gonna get whatever.
Dead.
Oh. Okay, I'm jumping off the map actually.
Alright, we got trance there. Is that it?
We're dead.
You wanna swap or stay xQc?
Yeah. We swap this shit out.
Okay.
I'm gonna go right here.
Yeah,
They,
especially
have walls, Valk, and probably grabs.
they
Gotta
stayed on that composition just because they were rolling so hard, and it's always better to try and get value out of your composition before switching. Even if you had planned to swap Ryan Zarya going into third, unless you find a good opportunity to swap, just like willfully swapping off of Winston Diva, giving up that ult charge, taking that time out of your day to transition compositions to what is like from the start the most optimal, not usually worth it. So the plan all along had been Ryan Zarya on third, but you take the fight and you swap after you lose to the Ryan Zarya. I've got the
Be super
hiccups.
careful here because we could. I don't want to get like. It's fine, just play it.
They're looking,
don't
they're
have
looking
combo
for
yet.
grab combo this. You don't think so?
No, they don't have
think
the Hanzo ult. They just.
Oh, okay.
Alright, I'll chance to grab it
bubble
if they use it here.
I want to bubble that. Get on the Ryan.
Is that reasonable?
Widow just hit.
Yeah, it says about it.
Okay,
Ryan shot here. Ryan shot 100%.
I'm good.
Very pushing. I have shield again. Oh, I'm one.
Wait, hold
Everybody's
on.
Ooh, I'm one, too.
Get healed.
I'm super low.
Healing
We're
us.
still on, Push it.
Ryan's shield's very, very close to being broken.
Widow's half on the high ground.
Yeah, push this inside.
Run, run,
Push
run.
this inside.
You're getting shot
On
here.
flash, sorry. Sorry.
Why not?
On it off.
Yeah, we're good.
So this was both a good play from Agilities coupled with a very poor play from, I guess, Kevin. Actually, I am interested in the comms call here because Kevin grabbed, but they didn't have anything of their own to actually follow up with. So I'm actually going to go check Shane's perspective to see why this happened. I am interested about the comms calls during that point in time.
It's really important. That's you
Yeah,
notice
that's
that
right.
like, after you won the first initial fight that way.
Here?
Then one.
Help with the monkey and Mega.
I got then. Behind.
Hanzo's half. And help with Diva. Diva's half and Mega. Diva's half and Mega. Diva's half and Horseshoe.
Diva, Diva.
Let's go, Killer.
Nice, Killer. Let's fair behind. Fair. I'm with you, Killer. Okay. Let's fight her. Keep fighting her. I got you. This one. She's one.
They're staying dive here.
No!
Oh no, they're stopping around. Yeah, they're stopping.
They have chance over us.
I have Shadow
Did they
here.
dragon? Did they dragon recently?
They dragon. No, they have dragon for sure.
Okay.
We're just gonna pressure this Ryan really hard because we don't have Shank.
Yeah.
They might just walk into Shank.
Zarya no bubbles. Hanzo ulting on us.
I'm in Ryan now. Ryan's this good permanently.
Coming on Ryan. Pressure shield.
Where's his resing?
They res Pharaoh.
I got a regen here.
Barrage, left side.
Ryan's lit. Hanzo's peeking inside window.
I'm watching on.
I got a regen barrier here.
Ryan.
Swinging on Zarya.
I'm gonna grab you.
Can't follow up on it. I'm dead.
They ulted.
So that was just a mistake from Kevin. No forethought, and they had no follow-up.
Hanzo ulting on us.
I'm in Ryan now. Ryan's this good permanently.
Coming on Ryan. Pressure shield.
Mercy's rezzing.
They res Pharaoh. They res Pharaoh.
I got a regen here. I got a regen here.
Barrage. Pharaoh left side.
Ryan's lit. Hanzo's peeking inside window.
I'm watching on.
I got a regen barrier here.
Right.
Swinging on Zarya.
I'm gonna grab you.
Can't follow up on it. I'm dead.
I really don't like that.
They
Trans barrage.
Can we reset? Fast?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
And the good news being that they used a lot of ults. They Banny, Rolf, and Agilities all popped ultimates here.
I'm pocketing you,
But
Crimson.
still.
70 on trans. I gotta get out.
It is not how you want to be using Graviton.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Can they
help
have
push up this
shatter?
right
Can they
now.
have shatter? They might have shatter.
Yeah, I think they're close.
I'm going break for.
Yes, they're close.
Let's go point.
I'm gonna delete it. I can't go. I had to
We have
heal.
to touch. Got a
We need to
pen.
go. We need to go.
Okay.
I'm on point.
I'm taking over.
I'm with you.
Killing Ren.
I'm down.
That.
First one.
Shattering. Mercy dead.
Man, XQC knew
I'm dead,
Shane
dead,
had
Ryan.
Shatter the entire time. You can see XQC here giving Shane no quarter. He's just taking that beating
Shatter? They might have shatter.
and be like, I am not letting you shatter my team.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Great
I'm gonna
discipline.
push right now.
Shatter? They might have shatter.
Yeah, I think they're close.
I'm going break for.
Let's go point.
I'm gonna delete it. I can't go. I had to
We
heal.
have to touch. Got a
We need to
pen.
go. We need to go.
Okay.
I'm on point.
I'm taking over.
I'm with you.
Killing Ren.
Nope.
First one.
Shattering. Mercy dead.
Nice. Full target.
I'm dead to Ren.
Really well played. Cool.
There's crazy ult momentum.
It's kind of just a snowball map, though. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
XQC was like
Like if you win
holding
first,
shield. He finally got back to position, dropped it to like recharge, but then blocked Shane's Shatter based off reaction too. Really heads up there. Moving up to bully, preventing the respawns. That was great. That was great Ryan play there.
The next corner, not like in the middle of the streets.
Yeah, let's watch XQC's defense here. I actually do want to watch XQC's defense.
Actually, fuck it, dude. Ryan's shield's very, very close to being.
Is it here? Yeah, XQC's defense, because he plays Orisa here. It'll be Orisa on the Diva, or Orisa Diva on the high ground XQC.
Okay, sure, yeah. The thing is with this is that whenever we will have to rotate unless we get picks, and when we do, we have to be super crisp because otherwise anyone that goes on his own will die.
We're not going to watch Rialto. Rialto is
So
more
when
of a
we do
meme
rotate,
game than
I drop
anything
shield.
useful.
It's a timing. Like drop it, drop. Doesn't have to be all of us. It can be like me and Note, right?
Can I show
when we
XQC's
jump at the
perspective
bottom-
on that last attack? Sure. Is it here? Is that too far back?
Half on the high ground.
You're getting shot here.
On we're good.
Push him out.
Try to push their Mercy and Zen here. Mercy
Yeah, fuck it. Just go on with it.
I'm with you, XQC.
Hanzo half.
I can't. I wish I could.
Yeah, keeping up on card. We can stuff them in really easy.
We can. Yeah, we can still.
Yeah, I'm 80 on grab. 80 on grab. Nah, 86. I'm gonna get grab.
Hanzo there.
Hands are lower, right?
Now come at the card.
Okay. I'm gonna grab. I got Mercy in it. Get Mercy. Nice. Zen after, then break.
I'm on.
I have Brian just quick.
We're even. Yes, got this. Run.
Sorry.
Nice.
Sorry, one. Nice. You done.
Holy shit, that was really good.
That was a time. Absolutely a sound-based reaction. So on defense, we're going to stick with the... It's easier for like Note to drop off first because he can return back to the high ground. This is where I'm talking about the contest cycle. He's cycled back up. If they're still contesting the point, then you drop.
Yeah, because with Orisa, you're fully committed.
Contest first. Yeah, the Mercy was more to the side. Just they don't want to. We don't want to have the rotation forced out of us too early.
All right, so who wants to rotate through the windows? Because once we get point, we want like 2 people and 1 of each in the window.
Rolf and Mangchu.
Okay.
Coming up. Now?
Oh, I'm gonna shift them.
I thought he was gonna put it on the ground too.
You have Ryan. Fair spawn.
Be careful, boop.
Yeah.
He's
Pull him together.
delay. This play here is a bit interesting from XQC. He calls the rotation to the other high ground, which I actually don't like.
I think
Another cross. Reshielding it.
I think you could see XQC like or not XQC Note freak out because he didn't expect this.
Cross. We're good. 3, 2, 1. Super shielding.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna rotate.
Oh, you
So, yeah,
Or it was just funny because nobody expected him to rotate here.
We can still peek out there if you want.
I'm behind him. I'm behind him.
I won't be able to drop point very well here. I think we have to go together.
Pulling it back. Pulling it back.
Blink into something.
All together.
Right now.
I'm shooting in the back.
One tap.
Sorry, low, sorry, low.
Sorry, very low, yeah.
Note had to go
I'm dropping.
down.
I'm dropping.
Yeah, so you saw Note go down to contest, couldn't stay there because they are getting a little bit corralled here. So the idea, you want to stay on that left high ground to keep the angles farther open. So this, like, purposefully kind of like stuffing yourself into this corner was not the right play, I don't think. Orisa goes down to try and contest. Just pull him off.
I'm gonna get charged. I'm gonna die here.
And I think A-Team actually wins this.
Hello, Sonic. Break dead.
I'm gonna contest card.
Yeah, I'm touching for a second. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Zay behind, Zay's
Sorry,
Sorry for me.
So Mangachu just
Okay, you don't
frags
understand.
his
I'm not there. I'm not
brains
there. I
out.
died.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm a battery. Duracell, by the way.
I'm a battery.
Oh, fuck. I need to get it back.
Where's your hair? I don't know, I misplaced it somewhere.
Okay, I'll try and pocket you
No
Note.
side ground right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna play like way over here. Don't bother.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna wait.
I'm
for
coming up top. I'm gonna just hit main. I'll just hit main. You guys are all ground. Fuck
Yeah,
it.
you have to
Yeah,
wait for
fine.
it.
Break it,
Break shield as fast as we can. We got
I'm pulling back. Pulling it back.
They're coming.
We're pulling back. Back up. Back up. Switch positions.
I got one. I got.
Ryan's low.
Sorry, low, sorry, low.
Also, little comms like that, switch positions make no fucking sense if that isn't like a planned rotation.
I'm on right.
Pulling the other. Is that in the back? Is that in the back?
Oh, shit.
Ooh!
I can matrix you
I'm
on
coming
res
res.
together.
Easy res.
Yeah, okay.
Control. He knows he's gonna scrim. This is why, like, people. I don't know. XQC is a different person when he plays in scrims compared to ranked and on stream.
He's trying to shoot you.
Alright, I have a chance for this next engage. They have a chance too. They have a loose here right now. So
They have grabbed this
They've been
one.
on Lucy the whole time.
Wasn't it 2-0?
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen him rotate back to the high ground during this break, but minor things. I think they do rotate back up later.
Widow, back cinema.
Pulling the other.
But they have no combo.
I'm in a hotel.
I think so.
Right, Shadow here. Watch out. You can't stack right there.
They're low.
I saw him Zen.
They're kind of playing on this side. What was high
Zen's
ground?
low. Pull him out. 3, 4.
Something's in clock on the way.
No. We're shielding.
Sorry, you're still
Okay, we're
pushing
tired.
forward.
Pressure. Push
We're
up.
gonna push your line. He's just super low. It's huge. Ryan's turning out.
They'll rotate to the high ground based off of this break in the action.
Still high ground. One the Widow.
One.
He's alive.
I have Dragon.
Okay, Necros, chill.
Yo, we can reset. We can reset all the way across above.
Have they had this Lucio the whole time?
Yeah, reset.
They should have beat.
I'm gonna bug from top, dude. I'm gonna bug from top, dude. Just
close to 6 outs.
bust the shield.
Break pull Hanzo.
As soon as they're in, I'm gonna bust that fucking shield, dude. Make him uncomfortable.
Hunter's in the right hotel.
Okay, busting, shield busting.
They only need one tick.
Going.
Okay, one point of it.
Judging.
Okay.
Shadow's going through.
I'm checking the grab.
Talking you guys.
I'm finishers.
Pulling back.
We're live. Zen is under us in the big
I'm
gun.
dead.
Break shield,
Nice
break
low,
shield.
nice low.
Right. Nice, right.
We're up to
Zarya 100.
Pulling out. Get them. Bridget. Oh, Bridget.
Break no shield.
Bridget
Break no
one.
shield.
He's so disappointed himself for missing those shots.
Yeah, push high.
Above behind us, there's a Bridgetti. Run here. Yeah, dude.
Get him.
Okay, last fight.
Okay, they have a Hanzo out now.
They definitely have TP.
They still have Shatter,
They
right?
have a Moira.
They do. I'll pull him back though. I'll blow that shit. Easy clap. though.
Hanzo shatter. That's
We're
what
setting
happened.
point.
I'm playing.
I'm watching it out again.
I'm gonna pull if he goes for that again. Pulling him out. Got him.
Oh, cock.
Brick flank.
Somebody's in left. Alley.
I'm on the break.
Bring up top.
I'm vaulting this.
They're all left.
Finish Shatter. Bridget, nice. Bridget now.
Okay, I'm on this right hand side.
There's after.
Jay killed me. Jay's low.
Silent. They dead. It's just
Pulling out.
Break my touch.
Oh!
Watch out, they use Shatter.
I heard the Shatter spot.
You guys really didn't want to do Brig Ryan Zarya that badly? Well, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? You have any questions? It's a legit shame xQc isn't in the OWL anymore. I feel like the vast majority of xQc's mistakes during this scrim block were just from the inexperience of not being in the competitive environment for a couple months. The good dude is coachable. He learns fast, even in this block, whereas Surefour was having to kind of like help him around in the first couple maps. In this one, especially with Surefour not playing and Agilities and Magnitude playing, both who provide useful information but never take like a true leadership role, xQc was making the decisions and calling like the positions and whatnot. I'm like, xQc plays a really good Orisa. His pulls are great, his positioning is good, and once he actually feels comfortable with these team he's playing with, I feel like once you have some set strats, some set plans, some rotations, I feel like he could just take off. So, I don't know. Who plays Widow here if Surefour isn't in? For the 7-man roster? We wouldn't play Widow. We would play Hanzo as a replacement for Widow. What's it like coaching SureDad? I've only had one block with him, and it's been trials, so I actually haven't done like a coaching session with any of these guys yet because we're still technically in trials. When should you pull the enemy as Orisa? You can do it for a whole bunch of things. You can there's going to be 2 primary reasons. It's either going to be 3, I guess. You could group people up for like area of effect. You can pull people to make other abilities connect, like Hook or Widowmaker Headshot. Or if you're being pushed by an attacking team in your Orisa, you can halt them away, so it takes them longer to actually close the distance between you and them. Specifically, if the opponent's running a Reinhardt. Hello. Rip my question. You want to watch Rialto? Rialto was a steamroll. Was not even fair. I'll have it play in the background, I guess, while we're looking at this one. This is
Thank you.
I'm going there?
Yeah, this map was... We hadn't planned to do this one, and I honestly wanted to see Goats comp. I wanted to see 3-3 comp, and I thought I had told Sword, who was managing the blue team, that I was going to run Goats on this map. So I tried to get Team Canada to run the 3 supports and 3 tanks just because I love chaos. And there wasn't planned. We had already kind of like gotten through what we wanted to get through. And I was hoping that Sword was going to run Goats back into me. But Sword took the information that we were running Goats and fucking ran a Goats counter. I was like, God damn it, Sword. I just wanted to have like a really kind of like fun celebratory final map to finish off the scrims and have just 3 tanks, 3 supports versus 3 tanks, 3 supports, and just have ultimate fiesta. But Sword just fucking countered Goats. So then, just as in kind of response, I did the full tryhard counter to what Sword was going to run on an attack here, and it's kind of like a little haha to him as well. But
Playing high ground or ground?
Yeah.
We should be playing high ground. Alright, if they have a Widow, I can't say.
see you, Shane. There's just so much booping potential here, and I don't honestly know why Sword had the blue team run so much Reinhardt. Trying to cross this for like double sniper dive, Pharah Widow dive.
Nothing yet.
Winston D.Va would have been the answer here, but for some reason they stuck on Reinhardt for so long. Did they stick on Reinhardt for the full 4 minutes? It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Anyway, while you guys are watching this, Drazist, Tier 1 Performance Rose says, hey Jayne, love the content. Glad you're enjoying it. Screwshaft with the Prime sub, as well as Rixie, Kaizo, and Shreve. Excuse me. Oh, not actually that many questions. How does a comp with Pharah and Hanzo handle an opposing Pharah? So you don't actually have to take the fight with the Pharah. Of course, if the Pharah tries to push into the area where your Pharah controls, you can kind of control that 1v1 and get the advantage. But if you have like a Zenyatta and a Mercy, and the Pharah tries to push in, then you can just Discord damage boost one-shot her. If not, then play outside of her LOS, really. The Hanzo in close range is actually pretty effective against Pharah, especially with the Storm, but it's not as bad as you think. The Pharah can either contest if the opposing Pharah tries to push in, and if not, you can more or less ignore. Will there be 3-3 comps on other maps? It's unlikely. 3-3 doesn't really fit with the roster that Team Canada has. You definitely need really skilled tanks, really strong communication structure, and also there's no real reason to run goats if you do have proficient DPS players. Like really proficient DPS players. xQc tried to go for something witty there, got pushed back. So yeah, this isn't like a fault of any individual competency. I just don't think Sword's plan for this. And Sword would have given them an initial plan. I'm unsure of why nobody on that team decided to swap at all. So sticking on to Ryan, which was clearly not working for all 4 minutes, was a bit of a thonker. But I'll have to go back and watch and figure out why that call was never made. Watching this map from Shane's perspective would be pretty interesting, just to see how frustrated people were getting, as well as how they handle that frustration. You know, especially if we go up against a good team like South Korea and we are getting stomped, it's always good to know how exactly your players are going to react to adversity, basically. xQc Ryan on attack? It was such a steamroll. There's not a lot of... the VOD is available on xQc's channel if you'd like to go watch it yourself. So did you get coach? Yep, I did. I did get coach, yes. There's another pull. That got 2, I think. Yep, Ryan and Widow. If you guys have any questions, I'm just going to be answering questions until I end stream, because the other perspectives that I want to look at, I don't really want to stream. Just because the things I'm going to be looking for is going to prompt questions that I don't want to answer publicly yet. We stuck with Ryan because breaking their comp is all about getting picks, really. It wasn't not making room initially. We just started to get cheesed hard by environmental kills. Yes, but you don't need to make that space, and you don't need the Reinhardt itself to get picks on the opponent. Oh, the xQc Shatter and Airpin was actually hilarious, though. Okay, we'll watch that. We'll watch the initial attack from... Because the Airpin from xQc was actually fucking funny. Which heroes would you say to grind? Whichever ones you enjoy. You know, improvement's all about whatever you enjoy the most. Motivation is a resource, and if you don't have it, you're never going to improve. Do you think World Cup teams with no OWL will have too hard of a time catching up? As long as they have an OWL level coach that can kind of like help them, but if people aren't familiar with some of the high tier strats, compositions, plans, and even stage 1 OWL between stage 4 OWL is completely different. And I think that not having anyone on your roster, community like team or coach, is a massive disadvantage. Rolf and Crimzo seem really close. Anything you're prepared to say about the flex support spots? That Rolf and Crimzo are really close. I want to see... And the other problem is that not only do I have to identify the differences between Rolf and Crimzo, but I have to recognize which one of those deficiencies between each of Rolf and Crimzo is coachable and which is not. So if I do notice that, Crimzo does this better than Rolf, but Rolf does this better than that, I have to take a look at the weakness of each of the player and decide which one I feel I would have an easier time improving or making fit with the rest of Team Canada. So Rolf and Crimzo is going to be a difficult choice. Joe Meister and Verbo is going to be a difficult choice. And I honestly, at this point, have no idea which one I'm going to select from either of those two pairings. Who is a better Pharah, Agility or Mangachu? Both are extremely good. I haven't looked at the stats yet, but I do like the playstyle of Mangachu. Agility's is a much more... He plays a clean Pharah, but Mangachu forces a lot of opportunities that wouldn't have existed otherwise. Can anyone tell me what team Jayne coaches for? Team Canada. If you have flexed for over a year and now want to buckle down and pick a main with LFG being a thing and flexing not being necessary, how can you pick who to main? If you're only going to pick one person to main, pick somebody with high mechanical skill requirements so that even if you do flex later in the future, those mechanical skills will transfer. Do you have any tips for surviving on point with Orisa? It's all about, A, being able to retreat. knowing when to actually do a fighting retreat and when to actually like run away, because firing while retreating while backing up makes your massive crit box really easy targets. So recognize when you should actually retreat while with your back to the opponent so you don't get critted, and which you can actually retreat, you know, just with Fortify and fighting off the people who are attacking you. Yeah, Pugs, Majesty, and one other guy was spectating as well. Okay. Well, I think that's all I'm going to do for... Oh, we were going to watch the aerial pin, weren't we? Is it here? Oh, I think it is right here, too. This pin from xQc is actually great.
Put those in gemstones. I mean, necklaces and stuff.
We'll watch this, and then I think I'm going to pass off the host to somebody else. Because I got
This
other
is an
VODs to look
old
at today.
Mexican statue.
Yes, VOD reviews are going to be doing tomorrow. Just normal VOD reviews tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we're just.
Did Majesty not make the team?
This is goats.
He was spectating this one.
Somebody said it.
We
Somebody
haven't
said
made the
word.
final decision, but at this point we're considering other people.
I'm gonna take damage.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to not to get pulled here. I'm trying to to pull.
Like great players.
As soon as you see someone on the ground, call. I'll speed.
The Widow's kind of
Across.
crazy.
Ow.
I'm like
Okay, we feeding her. Let's
attempting
just
to
walk in.
matrix as
Walk
much
under.
as
Walk under.
possible. I'm
Go to
trying.
the
Oh, I'm up on them.
I'm with you.
I'm on this one.
Pretty low down here.
I'm half on charge.
Oh my god, there's
3
more.
seconds of speed.
Jump 3, jump 3.
You know us.
I catch you, I catch you, I catch you.
Oh, div on the ground, div on the ground here. Div on-
Oh, what are you gonna do? I can do that.
Mercy, mercy, mercy. Pull on
I
it.
catch you.
Sam.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
xQc.
I think I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
die.
die.
I'm low on charge.
I love that pin.
Div's one.
I'm dead.
Pin is so glorious. Pin is so glorious.
Okay, we feeding her. Let's just walk in. Walk under. Walk under.
I'm
Go to
trying.
the
Oh, I'm up on them.
I'm with you.
I'm on this one.
Pretty low down here.
I'm half on charge.
Oh my god, there's
3
more.
seconds of speed.
Jump 3, jump 3.
You know us.
I catch you, I catch you, I catch you.
Oh, div on the ground, div on the ground here. Div on-
Oh, what
I
are
can
they
do
gonna do?
that.
What am
I can do that.
What am I?
Mercy, mercy, mercy. Pull on
I
it.
catch you.
Sam.
Oh my! So it was a concussion mine. You guys want Crimso's POV? Okay. Look at Crimso's POV. Crimso.
Monkey's going bottom left. They're all going bottom left.
Good. I'm gonna play bottom right. I'm on their side though.
I got mercy.
Nice. Fair's low. Hit her once.
Diva going aggro. Diva no abilities.
Fair's
Come
low.
on, Monkey.
If I jump pad, we can kill her.
Yeah, I'm under.
Right
What's the widow? Do we know?
Widow's
here?
Don't take any ballsy peeks or anything.
We need to check to see if one of them tries flanking as well. Need to be careful of that.
I'm rotating.
Help our job.
you guys have to jump.
Yeah, dropping.
We're good.
There's one. I'm going up top.
Bad bear.
Deep on me.
Dear Mike.
With you.
They're speeding on Keller.
Thank you.
Demon's low.
Diva one. Still trapped. Kill Zarya.
Poor
Nice,
Crimso.
Zarya.
Poor Crimso. Oh
with you,
man.
Devo.
Too funny.